I'm making this video in my remarkable recording studio, my old truck and my iPhone, somewhat out of frustration that people aren't listening to what I have to say, which isn't surprising. About 10, 15 years ago, I had an incredible heel pain. It was like somebody had stuck a piece of glass in my heel or something like that. And I looked at my heel, I couldn't see anything wrong. I tried to fix it, I had terrible trouble getting around, so I went to see a physician. She took a look at my heel and said, it's plantar fasciitis, or inflammation of the plantar fascia, and I may have to give you a heel injection of cortisone. And I remember thinking, as a pathologist, what the hell is she talking about? The heel isn't just an amorphous blob of fat, elastin, and collagen. It's a highly complex and well-sculpted machine, and it's sculpted by pressure and basically shear stress as you put your foot on the ground and take it off. And the whole thing responds to these stresses by building molecular connections that then protect the heel against the pressures of walking and running, etc. So sticking a needle in there and injecting some cortisone made absolutely no sense to me at all. And yet I could see nothing wrong with my heel. Well, as a pathologist and an athlete, I thought, well, what the hell's going on? So I went online to research it. I found about 24 different treatments, all based on a number of different assumptions. The major assumption was tightness of the calf, which turns out not to be correct. And so I started to do research. You can see from this graph all the different treatments. And if there are a bunch of treatments for a condition, the chances are that none of these people really know what's going on. So 7 years later, after quite a bit of work and doing online surveys and exploring my own biomechanics, I came to the conclusion that this heel pain, idiopathic heel pain, is due to misalignments further upstream, generally in the hips. So I explained this to a number of people with this problem, one who'd had it for about 23 years, and showed some simple hip stretches for hip rotators, flexors, etc. And their pain went away.
Heel pain in just a few short weeks with his stretching. It was great. I've had heel pain for 30 years, and it's all better.
Great. Glad to hear it, Sarah. Thanks a lot.
Absolutely.
I describe those cases in this little book, Plantar Fasciitis, the true story of plantar fasciitis, and why heel injections should be banned, which I think is really true. My response to publishing this work was basically insults from some podiatrists who said my work was based on bullshit, or it was the worst kind of garbage. Unfortunately, I'm highly qualified to study disease. I've got multiple letters after my name, Fellow of the Royal College of Pathologists, etc., etc., and I don't have a tendency to publish garbage. So I describe how this happens, what's going on, the heel-hip connection, and I've helped quite a few people by telling them how to stretch their hips. And the trick about all of this is to realize that the pain isn't necessarily where the problem lies. If you think of the pain you can get in your shoulder and your arm in angina when you actually have a problem in your heart, that's the best known example of referred pain. I consider the so-called plantar fasciitis in the form of acute heel pain coming out of nowhere to be a referred nociceptive heel pain, generally coming from misalignment in the hips, which can be fixed with some simple body movement work. You can read more about this in my books. I try to advertise these facts on Google and they block me and tell me I'm not allowed to talk about medical conditions, even though the medical community is busily advertising all over the place. Anyway, that's why I made this video, even though I'm really not thinking so much about heel pain now. If I feel it coming on, I just stretch my lateral hip rotators and it goes away. And I just wanted to get this message across. All the details are in my couple of books, and I really wish you well with this, because the pain is actually excruciating and I never want it again. And now I know how to never get it again. So that's it from Kevin Thomas Morgan, aka Fiddle Dog, wishing you well with your heel pain, and give stretching your hips and misaligning your hips a try if nothing else has worked. Okay, Kevin Thomas Morgan signing out, and I'm wishing you well.